Hi, welcome to Yoga at the Library. We've got a nice class today that's going to do a little bit of everything, but we're going to focus on the legs. We are going to begin on our backs and start nice and slow. So find a spot on your mat, on your back. Knees can be bent or the legs can be all straight. Whatever feels best to you. Finding a comfortable position for the arms. Before we start moving, we're just checking in with our bodies. Noticing what's going on with that spine. Feeling the effects of gravity throughout the day, pressing down and compressing those vertebrae. And then when we lay down, they get a chance to kind of shift apart from each other. Release a little tension. So noticing what sensations you feel as that happens. Feeling the heavy places, the lighter places. We'll check in with the breath. Noticing the inhalations, expanding the lungs. The fronts of the rib cage and the back of the rib cage. Maybe feeling the back press deeper into the floor on your inhalation. And on your exhalation, feeling the whole body just shrink a little bit as the lungs empty. The belly falls. The rib cage contracts. Just feeling the sensations of your breath, relaxing on the floor. Notice whether taking a few deep breaths feels foreign to your body. If it's been a stressful day, you might not have taken one all day yet. It's good to check in with your breath as often as you can. Take a moment to do so whenever you get a moment. Alrighty, we'll move a little bit with the breath. So if your legs are extended, go ahead and bend those knees, bringing the heels in a little bit closer to the booty. And we'll take one leg out long, just sliding that heel on the mat away from you. And on your exhale, drag the heel back towards you on the mat. Your inhale, extend the opposite leg, just pushing that heel across the mat. On your exhale, bringing it back in. We're alternating, just extending one heel and then the other, straightening one leg and then the other. Check in with your low back here. Try to have as much of your low back in contact with your mat as you possibly can. So we don't want to let the back arch away from the ground. We want to protect that core and protect that spine by tucking the tailbone slightly to keep the low back on the floor. When you feel even, coming back to that bent leg position, and we'll take the arms out wide in a T. I'm going to move my notebook. Take your arms out wide in a T and then bend the elbows so that your arms are in a cactus position. So the backs of the hands, the tops of the forearms are to the floor. And we'll inhale, sliding those backs of the hands and forearms up along the floor, up overhead. And then we'll exhale, bending the elbows, bringing the elbows as close as you can to the rib cage. Opening up the fronts of the arms, the inner arms, the chest. Again, keeping as much of your back on the floor as you can. Noticing if you shift away from the floor to keep those arms, keep those hands in contact. It's more important that your back is on the floor than your hands and your arms. Noticing where you feel a release, where you feel, I guess it's kind of like a peak of the stretch, somewhere in that range of motion. Continuing to move with your breath. We'll release the arms, extend them back out into a T position. We'll let those knees fall over to one side. On your inhale, bring them back up to center. And on your exhale, let them fall down to the other side. Moving with your breath, inhaling up to center and exhaling to switch sides, kind of rolling out the glutes against the floor, getting the same sensation you get from a foam roller or other such magical devices. Rolling out some tension in those big muscles and opening up the lower spine. Making your way back to center. We'll hug both knees in, rolling, rocking from side to side, giving your spine a little bit of a massage against the floor. And we're going to make our way up to sit on our mat. So if you want to go over to one side and push your way up, that's fine. If you want to rock and roll forward and back to come up, that's fine too. Making your way up into a seated position. Extending the spine long. And a seated position here, for the first couple things we're doing seated, it is totally okay for you to be leaning up against something like a wall or a couch or a chair, to give your back and your legs a little break here. We're just sitting. We don't have to be sitting like this. We don't have to be doing anything fancy. We're just doing a little breathing exercise, and for a breathing exercise, it just matters that you're breathing. It doesn't matter what position you're sitting in. I do want you to be sitting up though, not laying down. So the exercise we're gonna do, I don't know, we may have done this once or twice. It's called Nadi Shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing. And to get set up, we have to get our right hand set up in this particular way. So we take our first two fingers, and kind of make an O with the thumb. And then we bring our pinky finger and our ring finger together. And our thumb kind of leaves the two pointer fingers, the two first fingers behind. And then you've got your thumb and your ring and pinky finger. That was a terrible description. This is what we're doing with our hands. So we've got our thumb on one side, we've got our ring and pinky finger on the other side. The other fingers are curled in. There we go, we're making a U shape. Gosh, I'm sorry about that, guys. So here we go. We are going to take a deep breath in through the nose. Hold the right nostril with a thumb and exhale through the left nostril. Then we inhale through the left nostril, hold it with the ring and pinky finger, and exhale through the right. Inhale right, Switch nostrils, exhale left. Inhale left. Switch nostrils and exhale right. So every round, we exhale, then we inhale, then we switch. Exhale, inhale, switch. Exhale, inhale, switch. That's how I have to think of it. So let's do that just at your own pace for a couple rounds. What Nadi Shodhana does focuses the breath on obviously the right and left nostrils, and it's supposed to bring the right and left sides of the body into balance, but also the right and left sides of your energy, and also the right and left sides of your personality into balance. So it's a really balancing breath, and if you're feeling out of sorts, it's a good practice to kind of get you back to center and back to using all of your resources that you have within you evenly and appropriately and well. It's a good one. Little woo-woo. Alrighty, so we're going to stretch out these legs since we've been sitting in whatever position we've been sitting. Go ahead and take your legs long and then take them wide into a V. Not super wide, just a little wide, and we're sitting up nice and tall here. If you're sitting against a wall or a chair, that's just fine. You can stay against a wall or a chair. We're going to bring the fingertips to the floor in front of us. Walk them forward just a teeny tiny bit till you feel the beginning of a stretch in those legs. We're not getting crazy because we just started class. We're going to let the legs open up naturally. Let's go ahead and walk those fingers over to the right. Maybe you can take both hands to the outside of the right leg. Maybe you're on either side. Either way, you're just fine. Keeping the spine long. Feeling those legs, the back begin to open up. Taking a couple breaths here and noticing how the breath expands the whole torso, changes the stretch a little bit. Coming back to center with those fingertips and walking over to the left side. Again, maybe you can come to the left side of the left leg. Maybe you're straddling that leg with your hands. Straight spine and just feeling the stretch. Coming back to center. And this time when we come to seated, we're going to sit with ankles crossed. And I want you to have a little space between you and if you're leaning up against something, that's something. So go ahead and scoot forward if you're leaning against a chair or a couch or the wall. We'll take the arms out wide and all the way up. And exhale down to one side. Inhaling up to center. And exhaling down to the other side. Moving with the breath. Inhaling up. And exhaling down. And if sitting on the floor doing this is unbearable, you can always sit up on a blanket. A blanket like this, a quilt is really good, or a thick towel. Something that's not going to squish down underneath your weight. I'm going to sit up on that and continue moving with my breath. Exhaling down to one side, reaching up and over, keeping the heart open. Inhaling up to center and exhaling down to the other side. Sitting up on something takes a little bit of the strain out of the knees and the hips. Can make a lot of difference, just an inch or two. Meeting back up at center. And we'll bring the hands back into heart. Ready, we're gonna wake up our shoulders, do a few arm circles. Taking a big deep breath in through the nose. Interlacing the fingers, exhaling, pressing the palms forward. Inhaling, raising those palms. And exhale, hands come back behind and interlace. Inhaling to lift the hands away from the tailbone, lift the chin, and open the heart. Exhale, hands come back to center. We'll do that 2 more times. Deep breath in. Exhaling, pressing palms forward. Inhaling to lift the palms, shoulders are dropped away from the ears. Exhaling, hands back. Inhaling, lifting and opening. And exhale, coming back to center. Deep breath in. Exhale, palms press forward. Inhale, palms up. Exhaling, hands back. Inhaling to lift. And exhaling, hands come back into the heart. Alrighty, we are going to switch ankles, so we'll take the opposite ankle in close, recentering ourselves on our cushion or on the floor. And this is a fun little twist and back opener that we never do. We're gonna start doing it. So we're taking the right hand across to the left knee, and we're gonna reach up and over with the left arm, looking up towards that left elbow. Taking a couple breaths here and feeling this big stretch. Making our way back to center. We'll do the same on the other side. Reaching across with the left hand to the right knee, and then reaching up and over with the right hand. Looking up towards that right elbow. And we'll do each side 1 more time, so don't worry. Coming back to center. Right hand across, reaching up and over with the left. Big deep breath in, a full exhalation here. Coming back to center. Left hand across, reaching up and over with the right. And coming back to center. And we'll take the legs out long again, taking them long and straight, and then taking them wide into a V. And if you're seated up on a blanket or a towel, that's just fine. You can stay on that blanket or towel, bringing the fingertips to the floor. Taking those hands over to the right, maybe just on either side of that right leg. Maybe you can take it all the way to the right of the right leg. Coming back through center and over to the left. Keeping that spine straight, feeling that stretch. Coming back to center. Alrighty, we'll make our way off of our booties onto our mats in tabletop position on hands and knees. And we can use that same blanket or towel to pad the knees if you need to. Give yourself a little cushion. Bringing the knees right underneath the hips, the palms right underneath the shoulders. Go ahead and tuck your toes here. Give yourself a little bit more traction. And we'll move with the breath coming into cat and cow. So we'll inhale, lifting the tailbone, dropping the belly, lifting the chin. We'll exhale, tucking that tailbone, rounding up through the back, and tucking the chin in towards the chest. Moving with your breath, lifting that tailbone and dropping that belly and pressing the heart through the biceps. Exhaling, rounding up so high that your hands even feel lighter against the floor. Taking any movements forward and back and side to side that your body needs to get through this motion, that your body needs to feel comfortable here. Bringing that movement all the way up the spine, so moving the head as well. We'll make our way back to a neutral spine. Gaze is down at the floor in between the fingertips. So the neck is in line with the rest of the spine. The spine feels flat. The belly is strong, so you're not just letting that belly hang down towards the floor. We'll extend the right leg long and tuck those toes and press through that heel, stretching the back of the leg and the calf. You can even swing that heel from side to side to rolling out the ball of the foot, the base of each toe. We'll switch sides, bringing the right knee back in line, extending the left leg, tucking those toes, pressing through the heel to stretch that hamstring, that calf, maybe swinging that heel from side to side to massage out the base of each toe. We'll bring that knee back in line. We'll balance a little bit here, taking the right leg out long, flexing the foot so the toes point straight down towards the floor, and extending the right arm long. I mean the left arm, opposite arm, opposite leg. You do not want to be balancing with your right leg and your right arm up. Deep breath in to lengthen. And exhaling on down. We'll switch sides. Left leg, right arm. We've done this enough times that you guys know what I'm talking about. Deep breath in to lengthen. And exhaling, hand and knee, come on down. We'll move with our breath. Inhaling to lift. And exhaling to lower. Keeping that spine neutral, keeping that belly strong. Flexing the foot on the extended leg to point those toes straight down towards the floor. So not letting that hip rotate out. We're strengthening the front and back of the body. Keeping everything in line, in alignment. When you feel even, coming back to your tabletop position, taking the knees a little bit wide and the big toes together, shifting the hips back to come into child's pose. Letting your forehead come down towards the floor, your tailbone come down towards the floor so the spine is rounded. Blocking almost everything out. The elbows can bend out to the side, arms a little break if that feels good. Just letting gravity stretch those hips, letting gravity stretch the spine, lengthen. And we'll make our way carefully back up into our tabletop. Bringing the knees back underneath the hips and tucking those toes. Taking the hands a couple inches forward. And we'll lift the knees, lift the hips. Coming up into downward facing dog. Alternate pressing one heel and then the other down towards the floor. And we might have the face more over the forearms, more over the wrists. And that's just fine. Warming up the body naturally and gradually. Stretching out the backs of the legs, the feet. And we'll take a big bend in both knees and walk on up towards the top of your mat. Knees can stay bent. Hands do not need to stay down. We're just coming into a forward fold at the top of our mats. A little bend in the knees to protect those hamstrings and let them stretch. The spine is released. The back of the neck is released, letting the head just hang. And the arms just hang. You can take opposite elbows, giving yourself a little bit more gravity here. And notice the breath, how it takes you out of the pose a tiny bit on your inhale. Lets you get a little deeper on your exhale. We'll take a little bend, a deeper bend in both knees and roll one vertebrae at a time all the way up to stand. Head comes up last. Standing up nice and tall. And if you've got a blanket on your mat, you are going to want to move it off to the side for the moment. We're going to do a couple things standing. So when we stand in yoga, we always come into Tadasana pose, where our feet are hip width or a little bit wider apart and always parallel. We're rooting evenly from the right to the left, the front to the back of the feet. So go ahead and wiggle a little bit from side to side. Maybe lift up all 10 toes and set them all the way back down. Feeling out those feet and getting even. We want to point the kneecaps straight forward. So maybe having to use some outer thigh muscles to point those kneecaps forward. We want to have the hips stacked right over the knees. The tailbone is tucked slightly so the spine is as neutral as it can be. The shoulders are stacked right over the hips. The torso is straight up and down. The chin is level with the floor. Shoulders drop away from the ears. Fingertips can shine down towards the floor. Breathing here in Tadasana. Lots and lots of room for those lungs. Lots and lots of power in those legs and in that core. Alrighty, keeping your feet just how they are, we're going to do some neck stretches. So go ahead and interlace the hands behind your back, just at the tailbone. They don't need to do anything fancy. Keeping those shoulders away from the ears. We'll take the right ear to the right shoulder. Take little nods up and down with the chin. Noticing if you hear anything. Noticing if you feel a release anywhere, if you feel tightness or soreness. And on an exhale, take the chin down to the chest. Inhale, bringing the left ear against the left shoulder. Check in with your posture and check in with your feet. Make sure you're not leaning to one side or the other to get into or out of the sensation. Feeling out the right side of the neck here. And if your neck, like my neck, is telling you to take your hands apart and give yourself a little bit of a rub, go ahead and do so. That's just fine. Listen to your body. And we can come into half neck circles or full neck circles. Taking the chin down, just coming from ear to ear. Swinging that head back and forth. Or going all the way around to opening up the chin and opening up the throat. If that feels good to you. I mean lifting the chin and opening up the throat. If you're doing full circles, make sure you switch directions. Make sure you don't feel anything crunching or grinding in the back of the neck. And check in with your shoulders. Make sure one isn't lifting up to kind of take some sensation out. We want to feel what is going on in our bodies. And try to stay as neutral as we can. Alrighty, making our way back to center. Standing up nice and tall. Again, we can release those hands. Checking in with the legs. We want to make sure, again, that those kneecaps are pointing straight forward. We're stacking our bodies straight up and down. We're going to open up the triceps a little bit. So we'll pat ourselves on the back with the right hand in between the shoulder blades. And then just hold on to that elbow and settle into the stretch. We're not pulling the elbow over to the left. We're just letting the weight of the arm kind of pull it gently in the left direction. We don't want to have our chin down to the chest. We want to keep the chin level with the floor here. So if you're tucking your chin to your chest to try to pull your elbow farther over, give yourself a little bit more space. Keep your chin level, keep your neck neutral. Let your triceps stretch without being forced. We'll release those arms. Take them on down. We'll pat ourselves on the back with the left hand, keeping that chin neutral, that neck neutral, holding on to the left elbow, and finding a stretch here. Notice if you're leaning more on one foot than the other, more to the fronts of the feet or the backs of the feet. And on your next exhale, go ahead and release the arms. Alrighty. I think, yes. Okay, let's take our feet just a tiny bit wider, but we still want them to be parallel. We'll take both arms out and all the way up here so the palms come together. Right hand comes down so that that palm is against the outer right leg. Then we'll reach up and over with the left hand to stretch the whole left side of the body, using that right hand against the leg for a little bit of support and trying to keep the weight even through both feet. It's a lot going on. Inhaling to come all the way up, extending both arms up. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Left hand comes down to the outer left leg. Fingertips slide down as we reach up and over with the right hand. Keeping the heart open. Just coming to your point of stretch. Checking in with your feet. Are they even? On our inhale, coming all the way back up. And releasing the hands on down. Alrighty, go ahead and step those feet back to hip width apart. We're going to do our first 3 sun breaths here. So we're coming back into that Tadasana alignment. Feet are parallel, knees are pointing straight forward, so that if they bend a little bit while we're flowing, they bend and stay the same distance apart as our feet. We don't want them to bend in towards one another. We don't want them to bend out. We want them to bend in line, in alignment with our feet. So here we go. Taking the arms out wide and all the way up. I'm going to turn to the side for this first one. Exhaling and folding forward. Little bend in the knees or even a big bend in the knees is just fine here. Inhaling to lengthen, bringing your spine flat. The shoulders are pressing up towards the ceiling. The neck is long. Exhaling to fold all the way back down, bringing that bend back into the knees. Inhaling to come out wide and all the way up. And exhaling, hands come into the heart. We'll do 2 more just like that. Arms come out and up. Exhaling to fold forward. Knees are bent if they need to be bent. Inhaling to lengthen the spine. Exhaling to fold all the way down. Inhaling to come out and all the way up. And exhaling, hands into the heart. Arms come out and up. Exhaling, fold forward and bow. Inhaling to lengthen the spine. Shoulders press back. And exhale on down. Inhaling, coming out and up. And exhale, hands coming into the heart. Noticing your breath, noticing your heart. If you can feel your pulse anywhere, check in with that heart rate, check in with that breath. Slow it all down a little bit. We're going to do a couple standing poses. So let's come to the top of your mat. And we want to have our feet hip width apart, always. And step back with the left foot so that left heel is to the floor and the left toes are turning out to the side. And for starters here, we're going to come into triangle pose. So we want to have both of our legs straight. If you feel like you can't keep your legs straight, you can take them closer together. That's just fine. So we've got our legs straight. We're going to take our arms out long, keeping the belly button pointing in the same direction as your left toes. So out to the side. Arms are extending out over the legs. Taking a big deep breath in here. Just like we did in that side stretch, that standing side stretch, I'm going to take the right hand to the right leg and let the fingertips slide down as we reach up and over. The fingertips just slide down as far as they naturally go, and you feel a big stretch in those legs. So we're not trying to reach our fingertips to the floor. We're trying to get a good stretch in our legs, a good stretch through that left side, and find our pose. This is a pose that is most often done incorrectly, and it does not give you the benefits that it should. We want to have our right knee pointing in the same direction as those right toes. We want to have our arms stacked hand, shoulder, shoulder, hand. Want to feel a big, big stretch through the left side. Taking a big deep breath in to come up to center. And from here, we're going to bend into the front knee, finding warrior two. Inhale, both arms come up, straightening the legs. And exhale back into our warrior two. Bending the knee till it comes right over the ankle. Inhaling up. And exhaling down into our warrior two one more time. Inhaling up. And with the palms together, we'll take the feet parallel and fold forward. And this is a good place to really listen to your body. You can shift the hips from side to side. You can bend one knee and then the other. You can reach your hands all the way underneath and round your spine a whole lot. Do whatever your body's telling you to do here to let it open up and release. Let the back of the neck relax wherever you are. Notice how your right hamstring's a little bit more open, or maybe a lot more open than your left hamstring after we just stretched that right leg on doing our triangle pose. Hang out here. Take some breaths. And we'll carefully make our way all the way up. Coming into those same two poses on the other side. So let's turn the left toes towards the short edge of our mat and adjust however you need to get the right foot all the way to the floor. Maybe turn the toes in a little bit so that your right knee feels strong. Left kneecap is pointing in the same direction as those left toes. We'll take our arms out, straight over the legs. Big deep breath in here. Coming into our triangle pose, so both legs are staying straight. The left fingertips come down to that left leg and slide down as we reach up and over with the right hand. Finding a big, nice stretch in that left hamstring and the right side body. So we're not dropping that right shoulder to reach our fingertips all the way down to the floor. We're not doing that. We're stretching the hamstring, stretching the side body. Keeping the heart open. Can even look up towards the ceiling if you feel like your balance is rocking today. Big deep breath in to come all the way up. Arms are extended. And on our exhale, we bend the knee till it comes right over that ankle for warrior two. Inhale, palms come together, legs straighten. Exhale, come back into warrior two, bending into that front knee. Inhale, coming up. And exhale on down. Inhale, coming up. And then we'll bring our feet parallel. Bring the hands on down. We'll walk our feet on in. So we're coming up to just stand on those feet. Shake out the legs, shake out the feet. Maybe roll a couple circles with each ankle. We'll do one more standing series and then we'll come down on our mats. So we're going to do 3 more of those sun breaths that we did a little bit ago, but in between sun breaths, we're going to come into fierce pose. So fierce pose or chair pose. in fierce pose or chair pose, we bend our knees and we've got our arms. Let's see, our hands are going to be at heart today. When we bend our knees, though, we want to make sure that our knees stay the same distance apart as our feet. If that can't happen for you, you can have your feet all the way together and then your knees can be all the way together, and that's just fine. We just don't want to be standing with our knees together and our feet wide, and we don't want to be standing with our knees wide and our feet together. We want to be in line and in alignment. So if you need to bring those feet all the way together, you're going to challenge your balance a little bit more, but you will protect your knees. That's just fine. So we'll begin with the hands at heart. Taking a big deep breath in, arms come out wide and all the way up. Exhaling to fold forward and bow. Little bend in the knees, checking in with those hamstrings after we've warmed them up a little bit more. Inhaling to lengthen the spine, neutral neck. Exhaling to fold all the way down. Inhaling to come out wide and all the way up. Bringing the palms together, and on our exhale, we bring our hands into our hearts, we bend our knees and sit the booty back. We are not sticking our booties out and arching our backs. We've got our tailbone tucked and the spine feels flat, just like it does in that halfway lift, just like it does in tabletop. Knees are the same distance apart as those feet. Taking one more big deep breath. And exhale to come on up. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhaling, arms out wide and all the way up. Exhaling to fold and bow. Inhaling to lift halfway. Exhaling on down. Inhaling to come out and all the way up. Palms come to the heart on our exhale, and we sit back into our fierce pose. Check in that you can see your big toes over your knees, making sure that we're getting our booties far enough back. You should be able to lift up all 10 of your toes here. Come on back to stand. We'll inhale, take the arms out and up. Exhaling to fold. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhaling on down. Inhaling out and up. Palms come together and we exhale, sitting into our fierce pose. Hands come to the heart. Taking a big deep breath in, and on our exhale, sit 1 inch deeper. On your next inhale, come all the way up. Arms come out and up. And then we exhale, hands come through heart. And release. Alrighty, we'll make our way down onto our bellies now. So go ahead and come to the back of your mat. And fold forward, bending the knees as much as you need to. Walking those hands towards the top of the mat, making your way down to your belly. We just did a lot of different things that tightened the front of our bodies, the hip flexors. Now we're going to open up the fronts of our bodies and our hip flexors. So we'll come into, let's see, we're going to do cobra pose. I have locust written down, but we're going to do cobra pose. So for cobra pose, we take the palms to the floor underneath the shoulders. Our elbows are close alongside the body, and the tops of our feet are on the floor. So our chins could be down on the floor if we were being really nice and relaxed here. On our inhale, we'll press into the hands, using the muscles of the back more than the muscles of the arms to lift the heart. And exhale to lower all the way down. Inhaling, pressing into the hands, lifting the heart, You feeling the muscles of the back warming up so fast. Exhaling to lower all the way down. This time we'll inhale, press up, and look over the left shoulder. And exhale to come all the way down. Inhale, press up one more time, looking over the right shoulder. And exhale to come on down. Pressing into the hands, tucking the toes, and coming up to a modified plank position. And then through our tabletop, finding our way into our child's pose. Taking the knees wide and the big toes together. Letting the tailbone and the forehead come down towards the floor. Breathing here, counterposing those back bends by letting the spine be round. Giving the arms a little rest. The shoulders. And we'll carefully make our way up. We'll come onto our backs. With the knees bent, the bottoms of the feet to the floor. We want to have the feet, I know you can't see your feet, but your feet should feel pretty parallel and hip width apart. And let's bend the elbows here so the fingertips point up towards the sky. On our inhalation, we'll press into the feet to lift the hips and press into the elbows to lift the heart towards the sky. Exhaling to lower all the way back down. So this is another practice, another pose that will open up the hip flexors that tend to be really, really tight. Pressing into the feet to lift the hips, pressing into the elbows to lift the heart. It also opens up our chests, our hearts, our front bodies. Lowering on your exhale. And we'll lift one more time. Inhaling to lift the hips. Pressing into those elbows to lift the heart. And lowering all the way down. Alrighty, we'll take the arms out wide into a T here. And let the knees fall all the way down to the right. Looking over the left fingertips. Coming into a big twist here. Checking in with your upper legs especially. Try to relax the legs. Let them be soft. Don't hold them in any certain position. If you shift a little bit when you relax, that's just fine. Let your body shift. Let your legs be soft. Let gravity kind of do this twist to you. We'll make our way back up to center. Recentering the hips. And then let those knees drop over to the left. Once you get into your pose, check in with your upper legs and relax those muscles. So we're not gripping. We're not holding any sort of position. We're really just falling into a twist here. Maybe looking over the right fingertips. Coming back to center. we'll do one hip stretch, and then we'll be ready for our final relaxation. So we'll take the right ankle across the left knee, coming into a figure 4. And if this is a stretch for your right hip, you can hang out right here. If you want to lift that left foot off the floor and hold behind the thigh, we can do that. Or you can reach and hold to the front of that left shin. The closer the right ankle is to your face, the more intense your stretch is going to be. So find your stretch. And if your right knee feels precarious here, you can always hold that right ankle strongly. So you can flex that foot, engaging the muscles of the lower leg, protecting that knee joint. You do not want to be looking at the sole of your foot here. You want your ankle to be strong. We'll release the left foot back down to the floor, uncrossing the right leg. Same thing on the other side. Left ankle comes over to the right knee. Staying right here, or reaching through to hold on behind that right thigh, or even to the front of the right shin. Flexing the left ankle and foot to protect that left knee. Bringing that fresh air on your inhalations to the left hip. Alrighty, we'll take the right foot back down to the floor, uncrossing the left. Take the legs out long on the mat. Reach up overhead with the arms, stretching from the fingertips all the way down to the toes. Get long, long, long on your mat. And then we'll bend the knees, hugging those knees in nice and close and rounding the spine. Maybe even rocking from side to side. And then we'll release the feet back down to the floor. Maybe you want to stay here. Maybe you want to extend one leg and then the other and come all the way out flat on your mat. Coming into our final relaxation pose. You can even lay on one side. Finding a position that feels pretty much symmetrical from right to left. You feel supported. A really, really, really nice modification, if you've got a towel or a blanket handy, is to take it right underneath the knees and just rest your legs on that blanket. Take some strain out of the low back. Good for the circulation. Feeling the heaviness of your legs and arms. Softness of the kneecaps. The weight of the hips and the pelvis against the floor. So much going on inside of our bodies. Letting your belly be soft. Your shoulder blades are flat against the floor, so the heart is open. The arms are soft and the hands are relaxed. The thumbs and the fingers. The jaw is not gripping. The throat is relaxed and soft. The face is smooth. Just breathing regularly here for a minute or two. Not dwelling for too long on any thought that might arise. If something comes into your mind, try to release it with a nice long exhalation. Begin to deepen your breath. And taking little movements with the fingers and the toes. And rolling out the wrists and the ankles. Bending your knees and coming to lay on one side, making a little pillow for your head with one arm. Using the hands to press on up into a seated position. Maybe up onto your blanket or your towel, maybe leaning up against the wall or the couch. Sitting up nice and tall. Hopefully noticing some space in the legs, the hips, the spine, the shoulders that maybe wasn't there before. Bringing the palms together at heart. And we'll close with our 3 deep breaths. Taking a big deep breath in, arms come out wide. Deep breath in for the world. Exhaling, hands come into the heart. Big deep breath in for our community. Exhaling, hands come into the heart. And a big deep breath in for ourselves. Exhale, bringing the hands into the heart. Thank you so much. Namaste.